Paltrocast.
Aside from doing press where you answer the same questions over and over and over again, good day for you so far?
Yeah, man, I've only had a few today, so no, it's fun. It's all good, all good. I've been working on an intro for the US set actually, so been looping that for hours. So I'm losing my mind in the studio a little bit. But yeah, all good. About yourself?
Got it. So the new record, or at least it's new to us, because you never know when something was made during COVID and shelved for 3 years, is War of Being. When did you actually finish the record?
Finish writing it or recording it?
I'd like to hear both personally, because when you're a band that puts out 11-minute music videos and songs, we are totally in the dark, I'm sure.
Actually, to be honest, I think I finished writing it literally before we hit the studio, and even then it was only kind of like 80% written. So there was a couple of songs, like for example Legion, that was only half written. I had no idea how to finish that song off, and that was written, the second half of that was kind of written by Jay and Amos in the studio, which was fun to be a bit more collaborative. Have you said that word? Yeah. Compared to past albums where it's been mainly 90% me, so it's been more of a group effort on this one, which is nice, refreshing. And then there's a song like Burden that went through 10 iterations, like variations, different versions of this arrangement. I just couldn't settle on it, and me and Moss were tinkering with that for ages. I think literally a month before we hit the studio, we kind of finished that. And the same with War of Being, that was kind of 2 or 3 songs we didn't really know how to piece things together. Then just one day I was like, oh, that could merge into that, and I've got a 10-minute song now. So it just kind of magically happened. And then yeah, we finished recording last July.
Oh,
fucking ages ago. Like we started last June, finished tracking in July, August. Then we had like a summer run of festivals. Then I had last September and October to mix it, in November. Then I moved house, and I had a baby, and then we're releasing it now. So it's been a bit of a busy year for me personally.
Change possible.
I know, Jesus. And I had to move my studio from one location to the other, so it was kind of like, originally we were going to spend more time mixing it, but it's like, as what usually happens, like there's always something that gets not rushed, but it's like we had to give ourselves a bit of a deadline. Everything else was quite relaxed, but it was like, okay, we've got 6 weeks to get it mixed, which is fine. But yeah, it just kind of came as a surprise. So yeah, all good though, all good.
When War of Being was recorded, did you know, hey, this is the title track?
No, I think originally we were thinking The Grey was going to would have been a good opening single. It probably would have been. But then when we started playing the rough mixes to friends and management and label, they were kind of suggesting, and us as well, we're thinking, well, the last album was quite a short album for whatever reasons, just time, money, budget, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a nice idea just to come out with something big and long for a change, just to mix it up, give back. So yeah.
Giving back.
Yeah.
So congratulations on this album. I said because a lot of artists, the album isn't that much of a work of art. You just go like, that's 11 songs. In this case, it's clearly a craft-oriented process. Oh, cool. So one thing I'm curious about is when you're demoing and you're writing, are the demos fully produced?
Yeah, to a degree, because I find that that's the fun bit for me, is I want to hear that as I'm writing it, at the end of the day, or as I'm doing it, I'll kind of mix it or have a template going, because it gives me an idea of how it's going to sound roughly when it's finished. Yeah, I like to do that, because otherwise I don't know how good or bad it is, really. It just gives me an indication. The only bad thing about doing that is quite often you get a demoitis. You get so used to that. I got so used to the original demo of The Grey in particular, that when we came to redo it, it was really hard to just do it afresh, but just got to persevere, basically. Although we did take like some elements from the demos, like a lot of the clean parts and lead parts, and even some vocal parts were kind of thrown in there just because they had the magic, as some people talk about. So,
yeah. That's because a lot of artists who write on guitar, the demos just might be them on an acoustic guitar, even though the music you hear is always punk or metal. They write everything on the acoustic. So there is no demo the way we hear it in the studio. It's kind of like the demo is the A, B, chorus, verse, and you're not a verse, chorus kind of band.
No, not quite. No. No.
No, so when we see you live in support of the War of Being, how much are you doing from the album versus the prior albums? Because you now officially have a catalog. You officially have your singles and your hits that if you don't play it, a certain percentage of the audience, wants to riot. And then the other certain percentage goes, no, I'm a real fan.
Yeah.
I didn't come to hear the hits and the singles.
It's weird because we're actually discussing that in the Tesseract chat at the minute, and I'm starting to organize and prep the set this week because I've got to get it ready for lighting guy and sound guy and stuff. We always like to have like a bit of a mix, like a bit of every album on there. It's going to be, I think, a bit more weighted in towards the new stuff, obviously, because it's War of Being tour. But then a mix of everything in there. Although I'm finding there's probably not going to be much of Polaris on there. There's quite a lot of Sunder, and not too much Altered State, not consciously, but I think maybe subconsciously we've played a lot of those songs to death for the past 5 years on tour. So it's just nice to freshen things up and keep us engaged, keep it fresh, So I think that's important.
That's cool to hear, though, that the lighting guy is part of the mix, that you're thinking about production and the live show. Do we, in about 5 years, do we get the stage set that has the steps in the back that you guys can run up and down and the ramp and all that? That's in the future cards?
Maybe. I think we're just trying to implement like freaking laser beams into the this run. Hopefully, I think it's coming. Maybe not quite as posh as the Portals thing we did, but something like a small version of that. But running up steps, I'd just trip up. Like I can barely focus on what I'm doing, let alone walk. If I walk, I'll just be like, where am I? What am I doing?
I would trip as well. I don't blame you for that, especially when you're playing complex parts like you are, while having to have a stage presence, while having to look cool, while having making sure that you're not getting bottled.
About that.
I mean, even David Bowie got that thing where they threw the lollipop and it landed in his eye in the early 2000s.
Wow.
So
I don't know about that one.
Thankfully, you do not want to search that photo. It is
oh god,
bad to see David Bowie with a lollipop coming out.
No.
But the thing that I admire about your band is not just the craft, but you're very relaxed people when you watch the interviews and the behind the scenes footage. Okay. The music is very serious and intense. And then you seem like very relaxed people who like sports and comedy when you're not busy with
comedy. I'm not a sporty person at all, but perhaps some of the other guys are a little. Well, maybe Jay a little bit. Yeah, we're all pretty chill though. I think you have to be if you take everything seriously. It's just it can be boring, isn't it? But yeah, we're usually just on the bus farting all day otherwise.
Well, what's your number two hobby when you're not busy with Tesseract? Is it music?
Well, no, because when I'm not doing Tesseract, I'm working on other bands because I mix and master other bands. So when I'm not doing Tesseract or the production side of things, I just want to switch off from music. Like the last thing I want to do is music. Recently, it's just been looking after a 4-month-old baby. So music's kind of life consuming. So there's not much else I really do apart from just going out and chilling, I guess. So yeah.
So not golf.
No, God no. Nothing wrong with that, but not my thing. I wanted to take up flying lessons, but I can't afford that. I almost did, but because I wanted to do that when I was a kid. But that's a tangent. But maybe one day.
Build that into the rider or the contract that they have to provide 15 minutes of flying lessons with every gig.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Worth a shot.
A friend of mine, his band, to make sure that the people are paying attention to the rider, they have it in there. And a framed photo of Ronnie James Dio.
Amazing.
And so you always see their spread and has, the chips and the beer and a framed photo of Ronnie James Dio. So could it really hurt to put in the flying lessons thing?
I think it might be a bit difficult in some of the venues trying to find an airfield, but why not? Give it a shot.
Well, there you go.
To the next venue. Be great.
So again, broken record here, but congratulations on just what sounds like a tough record to make that you pulled off. How far ahead are
Thank
you
you.
looking in terms of touring? Like, do you know what's happening in 2024 and 2025? Do you look ahead like that?
Yeah, we have to really. Yeah, we're starting. We've obviously got America this autumn, and we've got Europe the start of next year, and we've got Asia. We never played China, Japan, Taiwan, so that's going to be really fun to go to some new places.
Mhm.
Going back to India, Australia. This is like in springtime next year. There'll be a few little things in the summer, and we're getting offers for other places around the world. And then there'll be a big festival run, if not next year, then the year after. So 2025. So yeah, everything's starting to, yeah, lots of things are getting planned out, and it's like, oh god, the big campaign starts again. But yeah, it's all good though. It's positive.
Cool. Well, I'm actually curious about this part. Is it the same level of success that you have in every area of the world, or is it tiny intimate club here, festival to 8,000
Yeah.
people there, and you have to figure it out place by place?
Yeah, it varies. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, America's our biggest market, but we've also played there the most because like the first album, Steve Joe, who used to work for Century Media, which was the first label we were with, he was great, but he just said, just do America, just focus on America as much as you can. And the first time we played America, it was with Devin Townsend, which was great, but we did some little shows in between by ourselves. And it was just, we played the first time we played LA was in front of like 5 people in a club in 2009. But the last time we played LA was like, I don't know, 2,000 people, it's great. It's amazing, but it's
Huge,
been
yeah.
very slow progression to get there, which is nice. It's good. UK is usually really good. Europe kind of varies. Germany's usually pretty strong. Scandinavia is good, but we'll play other places in Europe, and it'll be 500 cap clubs, 1,000 cap clubs. Like Italy's always really amazingly fun, and Greece, but they tend to be a bit smaller because we've only played there a couple of times, but the crowds go wild there. And we've just done South America for the first time, and it was really the funnest tour I've done in a long time. That was really fun, but they were kind of they were like big club shows, 1,000 cap, but really fun crowds. I'm looking forward to going back there. So yeah, they kind of average out, I guess. But yeah,
It sounds like you have to do that one tour where you pay your dues and you get humbled, and then when you
Mm.
go back, word is spread if enough time has passed.
You might have to do a few of them, like a few paying your dues, but yeah, at least for us. But yeah, fingers crossed it all pays off.
As a really technical person who's also a guitar player, did you ever talk Devin Townsend's ear off about his work with Steve Vai?
No, because if I did that, he'd just think I'm a punisher. So when he's like, in between sound checks and gigs, he's just a goofy guy, just goofing off really in the nicest, sweetest possible way. He likes to have a laugh. So yeah, you should just chill.
Well, down to 3 questions here before I let you go. The first one is,
Oh, good.
what was the band or the artist that made you want to start playing guitar in the first place? That's not a who are your influences question. Like, for example,
No, no.
being my age, when I was 8 or 9, it was still hair metal in the States was the biggest thing. So I saw
Yeah,
Poison and I went, I want to
yeah,
play
yeah,
guitar, but I didn't
yeah.
start. But when I finally saw Green Day, I went, that's my thing. And what I
Right.
play when I pick up guitar has nothing to do with Green Day. What was the case for you?
Probably two for me, like similar thing for you. Like the first one was, yeah, probably similar age, about 8. Uh, not Led Zeppelin, but Robert Plant's solo album, which is like one of his 80s,
The
no,
Honey
90s
Drippers?
even.
Really?
What was I've got? It's like a Fate of Nations, I think it's called. It's got like the burning earth on it. Yeah,
You
quite
might be the
cheesy.
first person ever to cite Robert Plant's solo career.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, it was just always played in my childhood, and then but I think
Yeah.
the opening song had like quite a riffy thing. I was like, oh, I like the sound of that. And I just picked up my stepbrother's guitar and figured it out. I was like, oh, I can play guitar now. Couldn't play guitar for shit, but that's what kind of started it. It's my journey
Sure.
into wanting an electric guitar. And then the next big one just would have been Nirvana, being a typical little grebo. You know, that was a big stepping stone for me, learning a load of power chords, and that progressed onto Korn and Mudvayne onto Meshuggah, etc. It's just a big stepping stone from there. Yeah.
So Van Halen had nothing to do with that evolution?
No, I was never really into lead playing that much. Well, I was when I was like in my, a teenager, but it would have been more like, Hendrix, Jimmy Page, that kind of stuff. David Gilmour, of course. So
Fascinating to me because when you're a certain age, it's usually Kiss was it. Then if you're a little younger than that, it's Van Halen and Motley Crue and AC/DC. And then the next thing, there's kind of these tiers, and you seem to have skipped over, say, 83 to 93.
Yeah. Maybe I just wasn't introduced to it. Perhaps it was just what was being played to me. So maybe that's why when I was a kid. So yeah.
And were you taking bass lessons, or did you just learn how to play going, hey, I know what these notes are from the guitar. I can play bass.
Yeah, basically. And just watching Moss play, and just watching Moss play. I mean, I can't touch, what he can do on the bass, but just learning a lot from him, little ideas. And also my guitar player, my guitar teacher, when I was a teenager, like 12, 13 years old, like I'd play the guitar and he'd pick up the bass. And he said, I remember him saying, like, you should start playing bass, like trying some bass things as well as guitar. And I remember that sticking with me. I got a bass guitar quite early. Didn't play it that much, but it was just a little seed of that, perhaps. Yeah, it's useful.
So that goes against the thing that Frank Zappa said about bassists being failed guitarists.
Never. The bass and drums are the core, right? I think,
exactly.
In my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah. Last question I got before I let you go is, when it comes to television, every time the wife and I go, we're going to watch a show, and we watch in 4 days, and we go, what do we watch next? And so I like to go to the literate, cultured people like yourself and go, what's on TV? What should we be watching? Do you have any recommendations to pass along?
I haven't watched much TV recently, to be honest. But a big inspiration for the album, might as well link it in with that, was Netflix thing. Love, Death, Robots. They're like shorts, like 10-minute shorts, 15-minute shorts, and there's quite a fairly popular one on there. I can't remember the name of it, but it's I'm gonna have to find it now. Yeah, it's a really good episode, and it's kind of based around the Contestable kind of era of. Excuse me, it's worth looking for.
But while you're typing that, I haven't gotten one thing out of you that's dumb or like lower end cultured. You're pretty consistent with liking what you like and the higher intellect stuff.
I guess, maybe, I don't know. Maybe, I'm not sure.
You're not saying, hey, Love Island UK now. That's what you should be watching.
Oh God, no, Jesus. I watch plenty of dumb stuff as well, like dumb comedy stuff. But like there's a Scottish guy called Limmy. He's hilarious. Okay, so there's going back to the Love, Death, Robots. There's an episode called Jibaro, and if you watch War of Being, I mean, Jibaro looks amazing, but you might see like a small like inspirational influence from that. Just the way it looks. It's a really like harrowing episode. It's worth a watch. It's great. And Black Mirror. I don't know if you've seen that. Love the new Black Mirror stuff. It's great.
Classics. Well, yeah. Hey, thank you for the time. Thank you for the great music. Looking forward to the next US run and seeing you live finally in New York. It's been a while,
Yeah, man. Are you coming down to one of the shows?
When I know what they are, we'll be there at the New York show.
Amazing, man.
Thanks for your time. And
thank you as well, man.
Paltrocast.